we have 7 life activities. And then these life activities are, I have grouped them into a certain acronym. And then we can call this acronym the Miss Green. The Miss Green. Miss Green. So we have M, R, S, G, R, E, and then N. M stands for movement. R stands for respiration. S stands for sensitivity. G stands for growth. R stands for reproduction. E stands for excretion. And then N stands for nutrition. So we have the Miss Green. So movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, nutrition. What this life process is telling us is, or is, every living organism should undergo these processes. Every living organism should undergo these processes. So if they give birth to a baby or human or plant or animal, any other living organism, meaning that these living organisms should undergo all these 7 life processes. Supposedly, if a living organism do not undergo any of these life processes, it means the living organism is not a normal living organism, or 2, it has a defect, because we've learned that every normal living organism should undergo this life process. Okay, let's proceed. Let's look at forms of cell. Forms of cell. Forms of cell. Now, cell can exist in so many forms. Cells can exist in so many forms. Cell can exist as single or free living, which we normally say unicellular. Cell can exist as colonial or colony. Cell can exist as filamentous. Cell can exist as part of a multicellular organism. And when we say part of a multicellular organism, we are talking about the organizations of cell, where cell have to move from cell, tissues, organs, organ system, and then organism. Okay, so if a cell is not in the cell state but has transited from cell to tissue, meaning that it has another role to play, and then it is part of a multicellular organism. All right, but today our main focus will be on 2 forms of cell, which is 1, the unicellular, and then 2, the multicellular. 1, the unicellular, and then 2, the multicellular. Okay. The cell, or a cell that exists as single cell, is called a unicellular. Now, we've been making some mistake over here. And then the mistake we've been making is mostly we say that unicellular cell. We mostly say unicellular cell. Now, uni means 1. Cellular means cell. So if we say unicellular cell, then meaning we are saying 1 cell, which is indirectly tautology. So we have to say unicellular. Now, the cell that exists as a single cell is called unicellular. Some organisms fall within this unicellular, and then we call them the unicellular organism. Therefore, unicellular organisms are organisms that have or possess a single cell. Examples of these unicellular organisms are amoeba, paramecium, euglena, spirogyra, plasmodium, Chlamydomonas, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Escherichia coli, Trypanosoma, etc., etc. There are a lot. Examples of unicellular organisms I'm going over again are amoeba, paramecium, euglena, spirogyra, plasmodium, Chlamydomonas, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Escherichia coli, Trypanosoma, etc., etc. Now let's look at another form in which the cell can exist, because we said today we are looking at the two forms, which is the unicellular and then the multicellular. So let's look at the multicellular. Okay. Now, a cell that exists as two or more cells is called a multicellular. So here too, we don't say multicellular cell. We say multicellular. So a cell that exists as two or more cells is called multicellular. Now, organisms under this form of cell is called multicellular organisms. Unlike unicellular organisms where a single cell does everything, multicellular life features specialized cells. Multicellular life features specialized cells. Now, when we say specialized cells are cells structurally adapted to perform a specific function. And then these specialized cells will come together and then work. And then we'll divide up the various tasks. So we have the work of the eye, we have the work of the mouth, we have the work of the leg. That is multicellular organisms. Examples of these multicellular organisms are animals, plants, fungi, algae. Okay. Now let me show you a picture of the multicellular cell and then the unicellular cell. So on your screens, as you are seeing, the difference between the multicellular and then the unicellular, you could see it on your screen. You could see it on your screens. You could see it on your screens. Okay. Now, let me take this opportunity again to acknowledge my sponsors, because they have been very productive. Yes. And then they keep the system going. And I'm saying that Dufie's Cook Shop, in which she is located at Adiembra near Fountain Gate Chapel. You can call 0202 705 335 or 0596 298 209. Now, Dufie said that if you have any program, being it wedding, school graduation, funeral, any program, wedding, naming ceremony, just call or order your cakes and then your pastries and then your Tom Browns, so you can serve your visitors well. Priskes Subscription Services is also inviting you and then telling you that you can call on her anytime if your iCloud storage is full, or if you're a fan of movie and then you need a Netflix account or Apple Music, you want to listen to music, just call 0249 180162 for all your Netflix, Apple Music, and then iCloud storage upgrade. Adayeson Herbal Clinic, Dr. Yao Samuel Buadu is calling on anyone who has stroke, diabetes, hypertension, infertility, kidney infections, low libido, and others to visit his hospital, which is located at Konongo Low Cost, SNIT Last Stop. For more information, you can call 0539 027860 or 0592 747423. Adayeson Herbal Clinic, we respond Wayaresa Fie. Okay, let's proceed.